Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. Welcome. If you're new, if you've been here before, welcome back. I know a lot of people enjoyed that impromptu live that I did yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I guess. So thank you for coming to keep me company. I just was a little trial balloon to see how it would go. Moving forward, I think I'll probably do it every couple of weeks or so, without a heads up. I'm just gonna pop on um, every couple of weeks and it'll be alive. And if you happen to catch it, you'll be able to put the questions in the chat for me to answer. Again, not personal questions, but the kind of questions that you've seen me answer before. And we can do that in real time. Somebody said to me yesterday, in the comments, and I read all the comments, and thank you so much for all of them. Somebody said, "Oh, I like I like this," meaning the live, but but what is it? I prefer the scripted version." I assured her in the comments, but I'm going to say here, obviously, there is nothing scripted about what I do ever. Just lighting my candle. I don't know why I keep forgetting to do it before you come on. Um, so I wouldn't say that I do is scripted ever. I think that what I do is I prepare notes. These are my notes for today. These notes are just topics. That's all they are. They're not telling me what to say, but they're reminding me of what questions I might want to answer in a given session. So, and I will also say when you see a video like this that's not live, what it is it's recorded, but I never edit. I just, as soon as it's finished recording, I upload it right away. So, it's much like what you will see in a live. The only difference in a live is that you can interact in real time and you can ask questions, which if I have time and I see them, I can try to answer them. So that's the only difference. But I'm thinking every couple of weeks will be what I'll do for lives moving forward. Happy Halloween. You see, I've got my pumpkin colored sweater on in honor of the holiday. So it is Halloween. It is also Happy Friday, but today is also, or tomorrow, I guess November 1st, is the day that these SNAP benefits, these EBT benefits run out. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, and as I hope you have seen, um, just sort of in the news or wherever you get your information, that there are, maybe $6 million, or billion with a B, $1 billion allocated for occasions such as this. What is the occasion? People need their EBT/SNAP benefits, but the country is in a shutdown. Contingency plans have been made for that. And there are, I think, $6 billion in reserve for that. This was news, of course, that the felon and company did not want you to have, but now, of course, it's out. Two judges have said that he must uh, disperse these funds by tomorrow, that they have to be dispersed. Now, that's good news, and it's what I thought would happen. But as we know, just because a judge tells him to do something, that doesn't mean he does it. Remember that his big tactic is delay, delay, delay. And the problem is, while you're delaying, people are not getting their benefits. Uh, so I guess my question is, will the felon, of course, he will appeal. We know he's going to appeal the decision, but while the appeal is being heard, or while we wait for the appeal to be heard and decided on, will will people get their money? Will people get their money? So let's look at the fish and see the fishes stands for money and see what's around it. We know that governors of states, a lot of them have made contingency plans, but that's not everywhere, and largely not in the states that are most in need of those benefits, which is to say the southern states. Oh, I'm looking at this candle and it's about to just give up the ghost. So I had another one. I really I do like to read with candle light, so I'm gonna have to blow that out because it's about to die anyway. And put that there, and then I'm just gonna light a new candle for the work. The reason that I light a candle is just to set the um, stage, so to speak, in the sense that, you know, when the candle's lit, I am now doing sacred work. And so it's a reminder to me, it's a note to the universe that I am holding us all in sacred space as I do this work. Okay. So fresh candle, that's good. So I want to look for the fish and I want to see whether there will be disruption in the dispersal of these benefits more than there's already been. Okay. Okay, so we are looking for the fish because that stands for these EBT SNAP benefits. And what we're looking to see is whether there is smooth flow um, of these benefits to people, or whether the felon will do all he can to um, hold them up. And then if that's what I see, we will look at that and what that's all about. Okay. So these are the benefits. Again, there is like $6 billion earmarked for this situation. Okay. So we have the felon, we have the crossroads, we have the money, we have the house, and we have the letter. So I'm going to pull some cards, certainly on the fish, the house, and the letter. We know that the felon uh, not only wants the benefits held up, he wants his people, meaning the Republican Party, to make the case, which they've already made, but to continue to make the case that the reason that the benefits are held up is because the Democrats will not sign the CR. And of course, the Democrats will not sign the CR because that will take people's health care away. So, uh, this is not a good look for him. It's to the point where we have the second card, which is Crossroads. He may have to do a taco move. Trump always chickens out. He may have to say, "Oh, okay, you know, release the funds. We'll litigate it, but release the funds." Because if his people can't get their benefits, do you not think they're going to blame him for this? When he could disperse those emergency funds, which he is under law now mandated to do, if he doesn't change his mind, uh, he runs some serious risks. So, but I'm going to pull clarifiers on the money itself, and then on this house, and then the letter. Okay. So again, the judges, two separate judges in two separate states have said release the funds. Uh, the felon always says that he always obeys judges' orders. But what he likes to do, again, is appeal. And a lot of times, we've seen this often, while he's appealing, he continues to do his dirt until they actually judge that he cannot do his dirt. But if the dirt that he's doing is keeping food out of people's mouths, well, that's maybe that play is not the smartest play in the world. So here's the money, and the clarifiers are the moon, the child, and the book. I think that for the sake of appearances, which is the moon, some money will be released. Some money will be released. Some percentage of what people should get, they will get. But people need to get what they're supposed to get. To give them a percentage, I mean, if they're supposed to get a whole peanut butter sandwich and you're going to give them a quarter of it, they're hungry. They're hungry. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. I feel like in this moment, I don't know that they've actually decided what they're going to do. Mind you, between today and tomorrow, because tomorrow is the first. So the jury's still out on what they're going to do. Uh, the house is our fourth card, and the clarifiers are the lily, the heart, and the bear. You know, I can see him giving people part of their benefits and then saying, oh, you know what? And now I'm going to play Father Christmas. I'm gonna give you out of my own generosity, give you the benefits that you should have had all along. So I took them from you, and now I'm going to give them to you. I didn't have to do it, but that's the kind of guy I am. It's a narcissistic move to sort of keep the peace and keep the people loving him. This card here is about people's bodies, people's physicality, people needing these benefits in order to keep body and soul together, intact, right? You have to eat. I mean, it's a requirement in order to be alive. We have to eat. I mean, it's a happy circumstance because eating, I mean, I love to eat. I love food. But I mean, the fact of the matter is we have to do it in order to stay alive. This is our physical selves. So he will want to sort of calm the waters because he knows people are going to be angry. And he's going to say, I love you. So therefore, I, the narcissist in chief, am going to be, uh, not Lady Bountiful, Gentleman Bountiful, and give you back what I took from you in the first place. So I do think people will get their money. Uh, Final card is the letter, the fifth card, and the clarifiers are the sun, the scythe, and the key. Now, I always say about the letter that it's the most frustrating card in the deck because it could be anything, and it's anything in writing. So this could be the paperwork to release the funds because I can mirror it with him saying, "Okay, Congress, release the money." Um, it could be votes, and he realizes, I mean, his approval rating is down by like what? It's down, I don't know, to 36%. That's not good. He is very aware as is everybody, of the pain that is being inflicted at the prospect of loss of these benefits. And he, keeping the goodwill of the people to the extent that he has, even if it's 36%, is crucial to the felon. Um, he wants to hurt people, but he doesn't want to be the one to pay the cost when the people say, well, excuse me, I'm feeling this pain and I don't like it. And where can I direct my inquiry? He does not want anybody to say, direct your inquiry to the felon in chief. So I think he will do a taco move and people will get their money. And that he will phrase it in such a way that he will say something like, even though the Democrats created this situation and they're the reason why we were on a knife's edge as to whether or not you would be able to eat, I have decreed that you receive these benefits. So just bear in mind, no thanks to the Democrats. It's thanks to, and no thanks to the Republicans, he would say. Thanks to me, Lord Bountiful, uh, you get the benefits back so you can eat. Shouldn't have lost them in the first place. So it's a very dangerous game he's playing. I think a lot of people are still asleep, and everybody is not the most educated in the world, but people understand hunger. And in the end, when it comes to your basic core needs, if somebody's messing with you might be able finally at long last to identify who that is and and decide that, you know, that's enough. All right. So speaking of the felon, Judge Curry has demanded to see all paperwork to date that has to do with that lawyer who's not very good and has never prosecuted anything in her life. But anyway, that young, fox looking, meaning, she's got the hair and the makeup and all that, Lindsay Halligan. Um, Judge Curry has said, I want to see all paperwork to do with Lindsay Halligan's interaction with the grand jury. What grand jury? The grand jury that ended up indicting Comey and Tish James. I want to see all that paperwork. Now, you know, why would they want to see that paperwork? Because there's something shady about the fact that this indictment was handed down. Uh, and the fact that no other prosecutor signed on to the paperwork except for Lindsay Halligan. Right? One guy was refused and he was fired. It was a little bit of a mini Saturday Night Massacre, except not really, because they didn't have to go too far down the chain to find a Lindsay Halligan who said, "Pick me, sir." So I want to know what will this mean for Halligan's fate? I've already said that I think that the case against James and the case against Comey would be thrown out. But what does this mean for Lindsay Halligan? I mean, on the one hand, who cares? But on the other hand, Schadenfreude. I'd like to know. So I'm going to use the young woman card for her. She's young, inexperienced, uh, even sat silent in the courtroom while other lawyers made the case for her, but she was sort of the figurehead person. So I just would like to know how will she fare? Again, I think that the cases themselves will fall apart. But will she, they say everything the felon touches dies. Will she be someone whose career is ruined as a result of this? Or will she be in some legal trouble for something around what she's done in regard to these prosecutions or these indictments? Okay. So we're looking at Lindsay Halligan, that prosecutor who, is doing the felon's bidding in helping to get indictments through grand juries against the felon's enemies, in this case, Comey and James. So we have the tower, we have the moon, we have Lindsay Halligan, we have the birds, and we have the lily. So, and I pulled clarifiers on some of the cards. So, this is the card for courts and governments and all of that. And I think right now, which is why this Judge Curry wants to see the paperwork, um, this is the court wanting to assess her involvement and also her character, Lindsay Halligan's character. Like, is everything that she did above board? Are there questions that need to be asked? Were there steps that were not taken, or were there extrajudicial steps that were taken that shouldn't have been? So this Judge Curry, who is a woman, is looking at Lindsay Halligan, also a woman, um, and trying to see what is she all about? What is she up to? So this is the court wanting to figure that out. We have Halligan, of course, as the card in the center. And then we have birds. And birds I can mirror with the moon. So if this is Halligan's reputation, this is people, some officially and some just regular people, saying, talking smack legitimately about her, basically. So she will be the subject of gossip, conversation, censure, censure, which means I think she'll get, at the very least, slapped on the hand by pundits and uh, journalists, if not also by the law. But it's interesting that at the end, we have the lily. But the lily has nothing to do with Halligan. It's mirrored with the tower. So it's as though the courts are saying, we need to get back to some sort of equilibrium. We need to have people feel confident in the court, feel safe that the court is, a just and upright institution. It's a branch of government, for God's sake. So I think that's why Judge Curry says, let me see the paperwork. I want to get to the bottom of this. So I pulled cards on Lindsay Halligan herself, and we have the star, the ship, and the garden. I think that in future, she will have to leave people, places, and things behind and do something entirely different career-wise, because I do think she will be ruined in the end. You'll see why I say that in a minute. This is the card for, again, articles written about her, um, conversations that people have, interviews that are done around her. She's another Bondi-like character, right? That she will do anything for her master. And we have the clarifiers of the ring, the older woman, and the older man. People will talk about the fact that she, Lindsay Halligan, has been wedded to Bondi and to the felon. To to a degree, I mean, loyalty is good, but loyalty to the felon and his handmaiden Bondi, one of the many, is not the same as loyalty to the Constitution, loyalty to your oath as a lawyer. It's not the same thing. And so people are going to talk about that her loyalty is to Bondi and to the felon. And then we have this lily. Now, when I was going horizontally, I said that, it's the court's desire to have people feel comfortable and confident, um, and comfortable in their confidence in the law, right? Now we're going vertically, so it might mean something different. So we have this lily. The clarifiers are the snake, the scythe, and the fish. I think that in the interests of wanting this, the court is going to discover through this process of discovery, meaning, I want to see the paperwork, said the judge to Halligan, about your involvement. I want every scrap of paper to do with your involvement with that grand jury that handed down these indictments. I think this is big trouble for Halligan. I think Halligan will get cut off at the knees. Now, interesting that we have Fish and Tower. I feel like um, here, this is Halligan's participation in the legal process. And I think that she has not just been loyal to the felon because she thinks he's cute. I think she's been bought. Entertainment purposes only and allegedly, because remember that this is the card for money. So her offices as an officer of the court have been bought. And I think that that Judge Curry will get to the bottom of it. And I think Lindsay Halligan will be doing something other than law um, moving forward for her career in the future. I think she will. I think. Oops. I think she could. She could conceivably even lose her license with these two cards. So she will not uh, meet a good end as a result of doing the felon's bidding. Okay, couple more. I thought I would give a last look. I know the election's not until a week from Tuesday, but I just wanted to look at a couple of them. I want to look at, of course, the New York race, and that is Zohran Mamdani. Remember that he is the um, elected Democratic nominee for mayor, and he is running against independent former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, and he's running against the Republican candidate who is the has been guardian angel. Um, what do you call those people? I don't know what, not mercenary, but whatever. Um, you know, vigilante. I think vigilante. He's been around since the 70s, Curtis Sliwa, very conservative, head of the Guardian Angels, still wears the Guardian Angel garb, which include a beret. Um, I will tell you he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell, and that the real contest, of course, therefore, is between Mamdani and Cuomo. Now, of course, what's interesting is two things. The fact that Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He's also the son of a beloved governor in New York, um, Mario Cuomo. He did a good job in New York. We liked him in New York. I lived there when he was governor. Um, but Andrew himself was governor, and he left office in disgrace, and it was over a sexual um, accusation. I mean, isn't it always? So I guess now he's decided to come down from upstate, and he wants to run the city. So there's that. There's also the fact that even though Zohran Mamdani was the um, odds-on pick of the Democratic Party, the Democratic establishment has been, I'm going to say, straight up racist towards him. He is Muslim, um, and they have been, I mean, really ugly towards him. Now, it's not so much also that he's Muslim, it's the fact that he identifies as a democratic socialist. But apparently that was not a problem for the Democratic Party who nominated him. I think it's going to be a rout. I don't think Sliwa is not even a factor, but I want to pull cards. I'll pull three for Mamdani and three for Cuomo. Um, Sliwa, the has-been, can take a nap on this one. And I just want to see whose cards look better. So these are Mamdani's cards. I may need to pull five for them, but I'll leave it at three for the moment. And these are Andrew Cuomo's cards, independent, former governor who now wants to be the mayor. Okay. So Mamdani, we have the star, the older man card, and the rider. Now, here's what I think. I think this is a card of hope, and it's the card about the future. And I think this is Mamdani. Even though he's a young man, the fact that he shows up here as the older man is because he has at the same time a lightness of being and yet a gravitas. He understands the issues, he understands what New Yorkers want and need. He is the future. I think he will have a long, long, long political future, and that the mayoralty is just the beginning of his um, political career. That is the message that we are meant to be given, is that he is the future, right? I'm not going to say of the Democratic Party necessarily, but once that old guard dies and finally uh you know um Gen Xers and millennials get to take charge, Mamdani will be at the vanguard of those people, of that movement, and I think he will do really well. With Cuomo, we have the tower, the mountain, and the tree. I think he is a man alone on an island. He is supported by the Democratic establishment, but I mean, they have a vote, but they're not all the voters of New York. He is, in terms of the voters of New York, he is a man alone. Nobody's interested. He will be blocked. He will be blocked, and he will be considered a has-been. This is the past, right? He's from the past. And by the way, if he is sexually abusive towards women when he's the governor, does that mean that he won't be that way when he's the mayor? But we don't have to worry about that because he's not going to be the mayor. Mamdani will win this race. Just like Proposition 50, by the way, will pass. I think that the felon has tried very hard to block it, but I don't think it's blockable. And I also think that the Republicans know that it's not blockable, which is why they're so quiet. Um, the felon has said he will send monitors to California to um, observe, whatever, monitor the vote. That's a scare tactic. Mamdani will win in New York, and Prop 50 in California will also pass. I also wanted to look at the race in New Jersey. That's another state I spent considerable time in, um, where I raised my daughter. And so that contest is between Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat female, and Jack Ciattarelli, the Trumpy Republican. So let's do the same thing that we did. We're going to pull three cards for Mikey Sherrill, who is a veteran, a military veteran, and three cards for Jack Ciattarelli, who I think is a business guy, because of course he is. All right. All right. So these are the cards for Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, uh, running for um, governor in New York. No, governor in It's a New Jersey race. Okay. The governor of New Jersey. And then, okay, hold on a second. I just want to, Okay. So well, sorry. These are Mikey Sherrill's cards, and these are Jack Chitterelli's cards. So really interesting. So Mikey Sherrill, we have clouds, we have the ring, and we have the dog. Clouds are just, I mean, they're not good. Clouds are always sort of doubts, but clouds are thoughts. It's true that thoughts can become things. That's true. And there were doubts cast on her earlier in the race. So, and this is also in a past position. But I think that the people will come out for her. The electorate will come out for her. The Democrats will come out for her, and and will be loyal to her. We have Chitterelli. He gets the star. Star is a great card. It's hope. It's the future. So it would make us think that, well, he thinks he's going to win. That's the message he's trying to convey. That's what he's trying to tell himself. But then the last card, he's blocked. So I think New Jersey will stay blue. Um, Phil Murphy, what is the governor currently, but he's term limited out. And so I think Mikey Sherrill will be the next governor of New Jersey, and Jack Chitterelli, the Republican Trumper, will lose. So those are my final predictions on those two races. Um, Now, two more questions, not political, but kind of, I mean, maybe a little tabloidy, sort of. I don't know. But it's Friday. The first one. So we see that Andrew, because that's what I'm going to call him, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Mr. Windsor, because he's not Duke of York, he's not the Prince, none of that. We see that he did not uh, was not allowed to bargain for what he wanted in return for leaving Royal Lodge, the property that they've been trying to get him out of for, you know, forever. It was actually the property that William and Kate wanted, but he couldn't be extricated from it. Now and so when he got his titles and things taken from him, and they told him that he had to leave Royal Lodge, he thought he could bargain. And if you recall, he asked for Frogmore Cottage for himself. This was the estate that had been gifted Harry and Meghan by the late Queen. But okay, whatever. He wanted that. And he wanted the current place where William and Kate live, Adelaide Cottage. They're moving. But anyway, he wanted that for Sarah Ferguson, his ex-wife of 30 something years. They were married, they were divorced maybe like, I don't know, I feel like 6 times longer than they were married. Something like that, 5 or 6 times longer than they were married. Anyway, we already know what the decision has been. They are getting neither of those properties. Fergie is on her own, and Andrew will be guest of his elder brother, the king, on some personally owned property in Sandringham, which is like 200 miles from London. So anyway, but the point being, for the point of this question, that's what we already know. We also know that Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, who are the children of Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, will retain their titles as princesses. Now, the next thing that everybody's talking about is what the fate will be of Harry and Meghan. They are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, just like Andrew and Fergie were at one time, but no longer the Duke and Duchess of York. So Uh, Scuttlebutt has it that since they're in the mood to slash and burn, that the king will seek to um, remove from Harry and Meghan their Sussex titles, uh, and also will take the titles of prince and princess away from little Archie and Lilibet. Now, bear in mind that Eugenie and Beatrice were the grandchildren of Queen Elizabeth. By the same token, Archie and Lilibet are grandchildren of King Charles. And we understand that Eugenie and Beatrice are not being penalized for the sins of their parents. So, I mean, asking for a friend will, assuming that the understanding, yeah, among the royals is that what Harry and Meghan did was a sin. Will the sins of Harry and Meghan be visited on Archie and Lilibet? And, what's that about? So I just want to know. Uh, I think what I want to do is use the House of Sussex as my focus card. So that will stand for all four of the Sussexes. So it'll stand for Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet. And I'm going to use the house, and that will be the House of Sussex. And I'd like to know what the future is of the House of Sussex. And then I may have to look at the children separately, but maybe not. It depends what the cards will show. I'm just curious, I mean, I have no problem with, I mean, I'm not British, so I don't really care one way or the other, but um, I just feel like if Beatrice and Eugenie can keep their titles, can Archie and Lilibet? So we're going to look at the House of Sussex, and we're using the house for that little four-person unit. What fate awaits them um, in relation to their connection to the royal family? Okay, so this is the House of Sussex. Well, this is really interesting. I'm going to pull clarifiers. Okay. I'm just reading cards. I have no, internal, well, you know what I mean, internal sources beyond my own internal sources, my own intuition. But anyway, we have the star, we have the ship, we have the House of Sussex, we have the young man, and we have the heart. I think that in the future, there is hope on the part of William that some sort of rapprochement can happen um, out of, you know, filial and paternal love um, and fraternal love, even though there is no fraternal love between the sons, meaning William and Harry. Um, Charles holds out hope for a future reconciliation. He's hoping that that can move forward, at least insofar as Harry is concerned. And if Harry is in some way welcomed into the fold on some sort of, I don't know, part-time basis or something, um, obviously his children will keep their titles. So I pulled cards on the House of Sussex, and the cards are the fish, the scythe, and the anchor, which means that I think that in terms of money and support by the public for this branch of the royal family, this Sussex branch, that's not going to happen. They will not be supported financially by the monarchy, by the crown. I'm sure, again, Charles has his own money, and that's his son, and those are his grandchildren. So personal support, like he's giving Andrew. Um, but um, there will be no coming back and then the Sussex branch be back on the public dole, public, royal dole. That won't happen. So that part's over. But that really wasn't so much the question as whether their titles would be retained. We have the young man, and the clarifiers are clouds, mice, and bear. I mean, here's the thing. This is um, Harry, and he's really worried. He's really worried, not about his dad, but about his big brother, who is um, who's got a temper and has a a grudge against Harry. He thinks that Harry is a threat to the monarchy. And I mean, I can see why he would think that. And it's not, I mean, not an unremarkable, unusual occurrence for royal brother to, rise up against royal brother. I mean, isn't that kind of the whole story of monarchy? So Harry is worried that any sort of deal that he makes with his father in terms of his involvement with things royal, uh, he's worried about uh, William when the coast is clear and Charles has gone on to his great reward. He's worried about any agreement being revoked by William, and worried that that will, of course, affect his children. But I will say that I think that, for now, Charles is not going anywhere. There is still time and hope for Harry to um, build a bridge. Apparently, Kate is in favor of building a bridge with Harry, not with Meghan. We won't even get into the why of that. I'm gonna leave that alone. But anyway, I have the heart, and the clarifiers are clover, letter, and key. I do think that that logical argument, the one that I just made about, you know, why is not what was good for Beatrice and Eugenie, why is that not good for Lilibet and Archie? Like, why should they lose their claim to be prince and princess? Um, I mean, it's not like Harry and Meghan essayed anybody, if you know what I mean. They just left an untenable, hostile, dangerous situation, is what they did to save their lives. Hardly a capital offense, hardly an offense worthy of losing your or letting your children lose their titles. There might be some deal um, in the end, but I do think that those little kids will be able to say prince and princess if that's their, you know, jam. When they get older, I think they will be able to use those titles and be considered members of the family. All right. The last question has nothing to do with any of this, but it's definitely been on my mind. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Black political social commentator. I guess that's what I'll call her, Candace Owens. But she is conservative. She is a, a convert to Catholicism. She was one of the people who was in Turning Point USA at the very beginning. You could argue that she was one of the sort of the builders of that organization from which she is now estranged. She was close friends with Charlie Kirk. And point being, she has her own podcast with millions of viewers. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe so that one day too we can be in the millions. Wouldn't that be nice? But anyway, she is well, I'm going to say this about her. I don't like her politics at all. I think she is misguided in a lot of ways about around politics and race. I think she's one of those Black people that, how can I put this, is often very popular among white people. They find her palatable. They find her politics refreshingly like their own in regard to matters of race. She is not what we call a race woman, um, even though she wants you to think that she is. But anyway, that's on the side of the ledger of I don't like her. However, I am really concerned for her. I think she is one of very, very few people who is working super hard to get to the bottom of what that killing was all about. Like, who did it? Who who aided and abetted it? Who was involved? I will give Candace Owens this. She's very smart. She's a very, very, very intelligent woman. Very intelligent, very well spoken. Um, she brings receipts that are legit, and she has been spilling all the tea, all the pots of all the tea. And if you don't know who she is, go check her out. But she is naming names, and I think she's married to an Englishman, white guy. She has three very small children that she homeschools, and I well, I think that there is ample evidence that what happened to Charlie Kirk was not at the hands of a lone actor for his own personal reasons. I don't think so at all. I think there are, as I always say, wheels within wheels. This is much more complicated and far-reaching and internationally involved than we would be, than they'd like us to believe. I'm just going to put it like that. And so I just want to look at Candace Owens, and she's in her 40s now, but she has a very young vibe. So I'm going to use the young woman for her, and I just want to see if she's going to be okay. Um, or will she be the next one that they usher into the next world? Because she's talking a lot. I'm not going to say she's talking too much because I find it fascinating and compelling, but I am sure in the eyes of many, like the nation of Israel, for example, like the felon, for example, like the officers of Turning Point USA, for example, like Erica Kirk, for example. I think that they think she's talking too much. So let's just look and see what's around her. We're going to use the young woman and we're looking at Candace Owens. And then I will let you get about your Halloween business. Young woman, I want to use. Okay, so this is Candace Owens. She, by the way, just for context, Candace Owens is the same person who swears up and down that Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, was is actually biologically a man. Come on. She is now, as you know, being sued by the Macrons, I think, for $5 million for defamation. So, she has some crackpot energy around her. But when it comes to this Charlie Kirk thing, um, I don't know. She makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's pull. She fell out with the felon when this whole Macron thing started, when the Macrons decided to sue her. And she was just sure as her name was Candace Owens that the felon was going to have a quiet word with Emmanuel Macron and ask him to withdraw the suit. The felon is not trying to get involved in this. So Candace Owens was very hurt by that. Um, And that, in addition to the felon's conduct around the whole Charlie Kirk situation, has made her not a fan of the felon. You know what they say, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm just saying, Candace, call me. Anyway, the cards are, did I say what they were? I don't know. The dog, the birds, sorry, Candace, the anchor, and the ship. So she was friends with all of these people, the Turning Point crew, the White House crew, the Republican crew. Um, she was friends with all of them. But now these friends have deserted her. She is running her mouth a mile a minute, wanting to know why there is so little official curiosity about Charlie Kirk's death, why there are things about the death that are so weird, so suspicious. I mean, look at what Joe Rogan has to say. A lot of people say, there's just too many things about this that don't pass the smell test. And she is, she is, I will, on the one hand, I'm going to say that she is dug in on this. She is willing to die on this hill. The other thing I want to say is she needs to be careful that this anchor doesn't take her down. You know, um, what does Whoopi say in what is it, Ghost? You in danger, girl. I think Candace Owen is in danger. Here she is. We have the letter, the scythe, and the crossroads. I'm just going to say, entertainment purposes only. I think that there's probably a contract out on her. Yeah. And that there is a realization among those people who want her gone that they have to do things in a different way, crossroads, in a different way than the way that they dispensed with Charlie. The way that Charlie was dispensed with was kind of, for all of the high and mighty people involved, it was done in a kind of sloppy, ham-fisted way. And they realized that if they're gonna disappear Candace, they have to do it a different way so that one thing can't be linked to the other thing. But even to think like that is stupid. Obviously, if something happens to her, do they not think people are going to say, wait a minute, wasn't she the one investigating what happened to Charlie Kirk? We have this anchor and we have Clover, Star, and Bear. So she really is sinking herself because she has dug in to this issue. He was her friend, Charlie Kirk, and she does not think he is being honored or done right by the people who should be really up in arms about what happened and who did it and why and how, and they're not. Everybody's just quiet. Um, Clover, I mean, I'm feeling like this is quick, that something will happen fast because she's got videos out on this podcast every single day. And each one of them is long and substantive, full of corroborated evidence, corroborative and corroborated. You know, it's corroborative of her theory, but then the evidence itself is corroborated. It's hard to say, oh, Candace, that's not true, because she has the receipts. So, this is my card for the felon at his most narcissistic and may not want her to have a future. Here's the ship, and the clarifiers are the rider, the coffin, and the bear. I think that she will be given a message courtesy of um, some agent of the felons that she needs to be quiet. The message that she'll be given is be quiet, or I'm not gonna, I mean, this is what it looks like. Be quiet or else. Now, if her past is prologue, if that happens and she gets warned in that way, she'll put that on a podcast. So I'm going to just draw final three cards to see what will happen with her. We have the tree, the house, and the man. You know, I think she will be threatened, but I also think that Charlie Kirk, especially now that he's gone, has quite the following. And there could be people who rally to Candace Owens' cause when they start to ask their own questions about what happened to him, which would make harming her or threatening even to harm her an unsafe proposition for the felon and company. The felon, the FBI, the CIA, Israel, whoever it is. Um, a movement, a political movement is being built up on the back of Charlie Kirk. He's sort of the figurehead, who will be the next Charlie Kirk? Will it be J.D. Vance with his new wife, Erica Kirk? That's a whole nother thing that I could talk about, but I'll let other people talk about that for now. If you're interested, you know what to do. Uh, I think she's causing quite a problem for people because how do you lift him up, Charlie Kirk, as this standard bearer, this deceased Christ-like figure? How do you lift him up as the figurehead for your movement if at the same time there's this person out here saying you're not really investigating his death very thoroughly, right? How do you square that? So I think I'm going to say that for now she's safe, and I think that the only reason that she's safe is that if something were to happen to her, that could cause this whole house of cards to tumble down faster than it's going to. Because, by the way, it will topple. But if something were to happen to Candace Owens, it would be very hard not to say, oh, I guess two and two equals four. And that would cause even the most faithful among the felon's followers to look askance at him and the people around him. So I think for now, Candace Owen is safe. I just think she's playing a very dangerous game. I mean, I understand why. Um, she's nothing if not being a good friend to him, to Charlie. But I hope she's counting the cost because she's playing a dangerous game. All right, I guess I'll leave it there for today, and I will see you guys over the weekend. So have a good Friday, a good Halloween, happy Halloween. Don't forget to change your clocks Saturday night, but I will see you very soon. Take care.